Welcome to another episode of Forge Father Fire. This episode is called Quitting is Not a Fucking Option. So we're back after a successful weekend. We conquered the KILLington Ultra Spartan race. I couldn't be more fulfilled. This year's course was harder than the course I did 2 years ago. By far. The Ultra Loop was absolutely brutal. So to give you an idea of what an ultra race is in the Spartan world, it is 30 miles. They say it's 30 miles, but it always ends up being more than 30. My Garmin watch registered 31.47 miles at the end. Over 88,000 steps I took. Finished it in 13 hours and 6 minutes, which means I blew away my time that I hit in 2022 by over an hour. So I was extremely happy with that. But breaking down what a Spartan race is, and so the way they set it up, there's a beast course. And so the beast course is usually about 13 miles, but usually it's closer to 14. But either way, there's a 13 mile beast course, but then there's an additional ultra loop that you run on the first lap around. And so as you're going around this beast course, at some point you break off into what they call the ultra loop. And so this year, the ultra loop was 4 miles, and it was absolute hell. It was up the mountain, back down, up the mountain, back down. It was basically 4 miles of going up and going down straight up these ski slopes. And if you know anything about skiing, black diamonds, super steep, bumpy, rough, terrain that is very, very unforgiving. You're meant to ski down that shit, not hike up it or run down it for that matter. But either way, there was a point on the ultra loop, and so this is the first lap. So we're about 12, 13 miles in. There's a sandbag carry obstacle. They strategically set it up for you to go up the mountain with a sandbag. These are 60-pound sandbags. So I remember getting to it, throw the sandbag on my shoulder, and I take a couple of steps, and I stopped. And I thought to myself that I'm not going to be able to make this. I said, there is no fucking way I'm going to be able to make this. And then all the stories start popping up in your mind and all the negative self-talk. It's like, you're not even halfway through this race yet. This is already brutal. Legs are burning. I'm hurting already. But then I caught myself in the moment. You're being a little bitch. You're feeling sorry for yourself. Who am I to say I'm not going to make it? Fuck that. There is no quitting. I'm not a quitter. That's not who I am. And so in that moment, I went from being completely defeated to not being defeated. I made a decision in that moment. And more importantly, I started to think about my wife. I started to think about my daughters. I started to think about my son. I started to think about the men that I lead inside of Forge Father. Who would I be if I was to give up in that situation? Feeling sorry for myself, fatigued, stressed, facing something difficult. That's when you find out who you really are in those moments. And so all in that instant, I'm standing there, I'm thinking all these things to myself, and I start just taking steps up the mountain, one step at a time, one step at a time. And I just reconnected back to the present moment. And I said, God, thank you so much for this right now. Thank you so much for blessing me with the ability to experience this right now, to have the opportunity to see what I'm truly capable of doing, what you've allowed me to be capable of doing. And so I just kept taking steps up that mountain. And I remember it was a pretty steep climb to start, and then it curved off to the right. And I looked up and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. It keeps going. And it kept going and I kept going. And I said, this is exactly what I want. And so I'm not going to drop this sandbag once. I saw people all over dropping sandbags, sitting on their sandbags. A lot of quitters out there. This year, from what we've seen, there was only 40% finish rate for the Ultra. 60% did not finish. And if you add up the total amount of racers, I think there was 800 that signed up for the Ultra. 500 actually showed up. And then out of that 500, 40% finished. So I had that moment on the mountain, and I pushed through it. And the rest of the race, all I could think about was finishing. I was not going to quit. I was not going to give up. I was going to fucking leave it all on the mountain. And I wanted to share this with you because whether you're doing some sort of event like this, where you're testing yourself physically, mentally, spiritually even, you're going to face things in life on a day-to-day basis where you need to make a decision. Are you going to fucking quit and give up like most people do? Or are you going to persevere? Are you going to push through the pain? Are you going to push through the fatigue? Are you going to push through the fucking negative self-talk? Are you going to push through the bullshit stories that you're telling yourself? And are you going to reveal and expose the real you? Are you going to prove to yourself, prove to the world, prove to God who it is that you really are? Be ready for those moments. Want those moments. Because those moments are opportunities. And when you conquer and overcome those moments, you build yourself up even better. And so I couldn't be more thankful for this past weekend, for the race, for having completed it. I had a couple of clients out there, my man Nick, Steve. They just came up a little bit short. They didn't quit. They just missed the cutoff by a couple minutes. They just came up a little bit short. Both of them made it about 29 miles. 29 miles into the race. My other buddy, Adam, he actually completed the race before me. The dude's a monster. He's an endurance athlete, 100%. But either way, amazing opportunity, amazing time, so much to be grateful for. But I just want you to pull that lesson from this, that we are capable of so much if we can conquer and overcome ourselves.